Hi everyone, welcome back to Never Say Neverland. For those of you that are new here, my name is Sam. I am a Disney mum who's been travelling to Disney over the last 30 years. I have a neurodiverse family and I make content around the ways and strategies that we put in place so that we can still enjoy magical, memorable families in a neurodiverse way. Today we're going to be talking about a hot topic, the DAS Pass. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with this is Disney's accessibility service. We have an upcoming Walt Disney World trip coming soon, so I have been researching into and applying for our own DAS Pass in order to make Disney achievable for our neurodiverse family. So there's been a lot of conversation about the DAS Pass. There have been quite a few changes in the past few months or years, definitely since we last applied for the DAS Pass. There's a lot of confusion. I was very confused as to what the process was now. So I wanted to create this video, particularly for people applying from the UK, to explain what the procedure was and what our positive experience was, how it worked, and hopefully to put people's minds a little bit at ease, because the stress level I experienced ahead of registering for DAS was off the scale. And at the end of the day, this is a magical trip and I actually love the planning process of it, but this was very stressful. Continue watching if you want to hear a positive experience amongst a lot of negativity online. I'm going to show you how we did it. First off, let's talk about what the DAS Pass actually is, and most importantly, what it isn't. It is not a front of the line pass or a way to skip queues completely. This is not a fast pass. It's not a way of avoiding lightning lanes. It is for people that are unable to queue in the conventional way. Often for people with sensory sensitivities or hidden disabilities, in particular autism, like my family experience. So here's how it works after you've been approved for the DAS Pass. You'll use My Disney Experience app, which will be your handy go-to app for anything that you're planning in your Disney day. You will find a section in there that is relating to the DAS Pass, and you will find your ride. You will select a return time. The length of this return time will be equal to what the standby wait time is for a particular ride. For example, if you were riding on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and the queue was 50 minutes, your return time for the DAS Pass would be 50 minutes. So you will be waiting that 50 minutes, the same as everybody else, outside of the queue. You can use this time to find somewhere that is quieter and calmer for yourself, for your family, for your children, whoever needs it, to wait out that 50 minutes. There are numerous quiet spots around all the theme parks. I actually have a guide to the top quiet spots in Magic Kingdom that is on my blog, Never Say Neverland, and I will put the link down below, because seriously, those spaces can be a complete game changer. Even if you just use the time to go and use the restrooms or visit the baby care centre. Unknown tip is you actually, if you have hidden disabilities, you can use the quiet space of the baby care centre. It's not just for diaper changes and feeding time for babies. So that is a handy tip and somewhere that I am planning to use on my next trip. This year we're actually planning on taking it a step further. I have been creating a Disney planner guide for neurodiverse kids to use in Walt Disney World. It's packed full of hints and tips for parents, planning worksheets that you can use ahead of even visiting Walt Disney World. There's a breakdown sheet with all the rides for each of the theme parks that your child or yourself can colour code it, depending on whether you're excited about, whether you're anxious about, whether it's a complete no-go, you don't want to ride it. This will make the planning of your day so much easier. There will be rides that you can completely cross off the list. There will be rides that you know are your must-dos and your priorities, particularly for when you're planning your DAS Pass return times. There will be some experiences that aren't on the DAS Pass, such as character meet and greets, that perhaps you could slot in during your wait time for you to return back to your ride. This toolkit will help you organise your whole day. There are also journal sheets for your child to fill in on a daily basis what they'd like to do, what they're excited to see and eat, and what characters they want to meet, but most importantly, what strategies they have in place to keep calm. There is a calm toolkit included in there, which your child will be able to use when packing their park bag ahead of the day ahead, when you're in your quiet spot, whether it's fidgets or ear defenders or comfort items. It will just help you regulate and keep your day magical and, most importantly, calm. So let's talk about how to apply for the DAS Pass, especially if you're visiting from the UK, which you will tell by my accent, I am from the United Kingdom. You can apply for your Disney Access Service, the DAS Pass, up to 60 days before you travel. You'll do this via a live video chat with a cast member. Now, what's important is before you apply for your DAS Pass, you will need park tickets, you will need access to My Disney Experience, and most importantly, you will need the person that you are applying for to be present with you at the time of your chat with the cast member. So personally for myself, I was applying on behalf of my 6-year-old son. So I had to make sure that I did it at a time where he was not at school and he was able to be present on the video chat for a short period of time so that the cast member could see him. So what will actually happen when you are on the video call is the cast member will ask you a few simple questions. My top tip for you is think long and hard before you have your call as to what the points are you want to get across. This is not a video where I will tell you hints and tips on what to say in order to get a DAS Pass. It is down to each individual and their needs. But if you can speak calmly and collected with your thoughts and the points you want to get across, the cast members are going to listen to you. I can't guarantee that they will approve you, but it will be a lot smoother of a conversation. So what I did beforehand is I had notes written down in front of me that had the core points that my son struggles with, the effects that would be had should he have to queue in a conventional queue area, and the consequences that would be had after that. So what impact that would have on the rest of our day, our holiday, other guests, the employees and cast members that are running that particular ride. Now, I found that really useful to organise my thoughts. I was able to speak calmly and collectively with the cast member. I did actually explain to them that I had notes in front of me, so they didn't think that I was reading off of a script, because I would have been a lot more anxious if I'd been trying to think of things in my head, forgetting things. I don't think I would have got the point across as well as I did with my notes. So a top tip for you is to write notes, explain that you have notes, they will be okay with that, and then you can feel really confident in the information that you're sharing with them. Now, one important thing for UK visitors, if you're applying from the United Kingdom, is you will need a VPN in order to access the US version of the Disney World site. Now, a VPN is something that will be able to change the location that your computer is transmitting from. I'm no techie person, but it will show that you are in the US, and that will open up access to the website that you need to do in order to apply for the DAS Pass. Now, a VPN, there are numerous services that you can use in order to obtain ones. There are also free ones. I know from my research that quite a few people use TunnelBear and Surfshark. I actually had software, security software included on my laptop that had VPN already included in that. So it is worth checking if you have security software beforehand before you go and look at other options or even purchase them. I would always make sure do your full research before you click any links and go on any sites, see what other people have used. But yeah, my first point of call would be just check and see if your computer already has it. So once you have access to the US version of the Walt Disney World site, you will need to find the disability access page. Now, from my experience, it was buried away in the website. There is a whole host of resources for anyone that has accessibility challenges, which I didn't even realise was there until I stumbled upon it trying to find the disability access page. I will pop a link in the description which will give you the link to go through to get directly through to the disability access page. Now, it's really important that you read everything that is on that page. There is also a terms and conditions section that you must read and you must accept in order for it to be progressed through. I actually missed that part, didn't click on it. When I opened up the chat box, the live chat box with the cast member, they actually wouldn't continue with the conversation until that had been checked. So I went back, read it, accepted it. So just try and do that beforehand just to save yourself a little bit of time. So you've accepted the terms and conditions. You're now going to register for a chat with a cast member. This will open up a little chat box at the bottom right hand corner of your screen. It will give you really clear self-explanatory instructions of what you need to enter. It will ask you a few simple questions such as when you're traveling, who you're traveling with. It will then inform you that you've been allocated a cast member and they are just looking through your notes and will be connecting you shortly. You'll be sent a Zoom link which you must accept in order for it to come across to a video call. Now, I'll be totally honest with you, I was incredibly nervous before our call. I had done so much research, fell into a bit of a dark hole of reading about all the negative experiences, which was partly why I wanted to create this video today. I wanted to help give people hope that it isn't all the horror stories that you read about. I don't doubt that people have had negative experiences, and that really breaks my heart because Disney should be inclusive for everyone. So I'm trying to give people the tools in order to feel confident in what they're explaining to the cast member on the call. So after reading so many horror stories online, I had got myself in quite a state, like high anxiety levels. But in all honesty, it wasn't as awful as I thought it was going to be. Because I had to wait for my son to be out of school in order to make the call, because he needed to be on the screen at one point. It was around 3:30 p.m. on a weekday. I registered for the video call, and actually the cast member, we had a young male who came on the call. He was fine. I wouldn't say we had an overly chatty conversation, but he was polite. He listened to me. He made me feel a bit more relaxed. He didn't interrupt me. He let me speak and explain all of my points, which I did. With my notes, calmly explained all of my points. They asked a few questions as to kind of who we're going with, what experiences my son had had on other rides that he'd had to queue in. And I had a whole host of examples from UK theme parks that we'd had experiences with and what had happened in those scenarios. They then explained that the DAS pass was approved and that my son would need to come on screen. He said hello to him. My son's pre-verbal, so there wasn't ever a conversation that was going to be had there. He took my son's photograph and my son was able to leave. Didn't get asked any questions because obviously he wouldn't have really been able to respond to them. The call lasted about 10 minutes. Afterwards, they sent me a link through to some of the resources, which I later realised was on the website anyway. I could put the link in the description because honestly, there were some really useful resources in there. In particular, a sensory ride list that kind of explains how long each of the rides are, which is really useful for my children to know. What type of restraints? Is it a lap bar? Is it an over the head? Is there no restraint? Because again, seatbelts and restraints are a little bit of a challenge for us. So I will share that resource on with you guys because I found it really useful and I'm hoping it will help some of you too. So what I would say is don't expect the DAS Pass to appear in your My Disney Experience app instantly. It actually doesn't appear until you were in the park. This is what we've been informed. And it won't be until your DAS Pass is active in My Disney Experience app that you'll be able to book rides and return times. Historically, when we last went, you were able to pre-book a certain amount. That's not a thing anymore. Disney don't do that. Another thing to note is, particularly if you're from a larger party, is that the DAS pass is only valid for 4 guests. So that is 3 guests, including the person that has applied for the DAS pass. So once you have selected your DAS pass, you can only select one at a time. You have to be in the park that you are actually selecting the ride for. You will wait out the time, and once you have scanned in with your magic band, ridden the ride, then it will be time for you to book your next one. You will enter through the lightning lane or a specific lane, so you don't have to go through the main queue area, which is ideal for us because some of the queue interactive areas are actually quite overwhelming for us, which was one of the challenges in the first place for us needing DAS. But if anything feels confusing, there are cast members that can be found under the blue umbrellas dotted around the park. They should be able to answer any of the questions you have or check the app. So it is worth, if you are a little bit confused when you're on your trip, just going to speak to them rather than getting stressed trying to work it out. Disney can still be stressful even if you have a DAS pass, so it's always worth having a plan, a backup plan in place. And this is where we will be utilising my Disney planner that I've created for neurodiverse kids, specifically for Walt Disney World. It will keep our days calm, my children will feel in control, and hopefully it'll be the most enjoyable trip that we can have as a family. So my guide is packed full of sensory-friendly planning pages, calm toolkits, games, activity sheets, packing lists, all the things that you could possibly need in order to help your child feel calm. I'm going to pop the link down in the description if you want to check it out. It's available in my Etsy shop. I also have a blog that is full of sensory friendly hints and tips for Walt Disney World, for days out in the UK, but also for Disney cruises, which we as a family also love. There is also a Disney planner guide for cruises as well, if that's an area that you're interested in. But I really hope that you have found this guide useful. I hope that if you are planning to apply for DAS, that you are successful and that this helps take away a little bit of the stress. My top tip would just be prepared, keep calm, and have a backup plan. I hope you have the most magical trip if you are planning to go away. And if you would like to check out my channel, please like this video, please subscribe, please check out some of my playlists. We have a full vlog series of our recent Disney cruise, and Walt Disney World vlogs will be coming very soon. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I'll see you all soon. Bye.